Welcome back everybody, my name is Json and welcome to another project-based tutorial on the channel. So in this video, we are going to be building a chatting application from scratch to a complete product. So on the screen, you can see I have opened 3 instances of chat application and we have multiple rooms as well. So for example, if I go to a JavaScript room and I click on this instance as well. So once I click on that, it tells me, okay, there was a new user joined as well. And we have a third instance. I'm going to click on that as well. And I get the message on the previous instances, which says, okay, new user joined. Now let's type a message here. So I'll say hi. And once I type hi, you can see I press enter and it quickly just basically emits the message to all the people in that chat room. So I get hi, hi, hi everywhere. So if I go, I'm a third person here right now and I'm going to say, how are you? And I press enter and there you go. So message gets delivered to other instances as well. So if we go back and I can see I have a Swift room as well. So here we'll go back and we'll go and talk about Swift. I click on that and I'll say, hey, oops. Okay, so now as you can see, the message is getting delivered just these instances and not in a JavaScript one. So this is the application we're going to be building from scratch. And also, before we start our video, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please consider subscribing because I make a lot of project-based tutorials nowadays. And also, I want to show you my new course on Udemy of JavaScript. So this is the course I created. It's been launched since a week. And if anyone watched my JavaScript tutorial, which is about 3 hours long, and want to enhance their knowledge about JavaScript, I would highly recommend take this course. It is the course that will get you from a beginner JavaScript developer to an advanced JavaScript developer. And we will learn by building real world projects in this course. So this course is about 18.5 hours long. And also I want to say that this course is going to get updated very oftenly. I'll make a lot of project-based projects basically. So I post those projects within this course. So we have covered a basic DOM in this course. We have covered how to work with data. We have covered how to create a game as well. And also I am building another bigger project, which is going to be available in this course, which is going to be an inventory system using JavaScript. So yeah, if you're really interested in buying this course, I drop a link with a coupon, which gives you, which basically saves you a lot of money. So that would be very cheap for you. So I would highly recommend give it a shot to this course. This is a complete JavaScript course. As you can see, it's 18.5 hours long. And also I have created so many projects in that. So yeah, and let's go and build our chat application now. Alright guys, welcome to the first video of this course guys. In this video, we are going to set up our development environment for developing this chat application. Now, we need few things to start working. First of all, you need to have some sort of an IDE to write your JavaScript code in it. And also you need a Node installed and npm installed in your PC or you're using a Mac. So I want to take you to a website, nodejs.org. So here we need to install a Nodejs. So here I can see I have latest versions and a current version. So we'll just download this 8.9.4 LTS version, which stands for long-term supported version. So you basically download that and install in your PC. It's a simple exe file. You just download it. I'm actually going to click on that and it's going to start downloading. At the bottom, you can see here, it's downloading. I'm going to cancel out because I've already downloaded and installed Node.js on my PC. And also when you install Node.js, it automatically installs npm as well. So how do we check whether we have a Node installed in our PC or not? Well, we can simply go to command prompt and here we type the command node space hyphen version. And it tells me that, all right, I have a version 9.2.0 installed. So I'm actually a couple of versions behind. But anyways, the application we're going to be developing, it should be fine, whatever the version you have installed. And also we need a framework on Node called Express, which basically help us to set up the routing. And also it helps us to configure the server very easily, right? So these 2 things you need to install. And the second thing, you need to have some sort of an IDE where you can start typing your code. So I'm going to give you my suggestion, which is actually the paid version of IDE. basically I use WebStorm, which is a paid version. You don't have to buy it to, follow along with this course. You can just simply download one of these. So we have a brackets, free, open source. We have an Atom, free, open source, even created by GitHub. And also we have Visual Studio Code, which is my recommendation. And I think you should start with this because it has a lot of extension, which helps you to write JavaScript, and it has a support for Express, Nodejs, and also Socket.io as well. But WebStorm is my IDE, so I'm going to start with that, but you can just start with the Visual Studio Code. So what we will do in this video, we basically set up a project using a Visual Studio Code. So I make sure that you guys know how we can start a project. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to close WebStorm for now, and I'm going to open a Visual Studio Code. So let's open that up, and I'm actually going to bring it here. And here, once you install Visual Studio Code, you see this, all right? Now, the first thing you do is you create a folder on any directory or any folder on your hard drive, and you open it up in Visual Studio Code. So how do we do that? We go to File menu, we click on Open Folder, and here I have the folder called Web Project. So I'm just going to go outside, and I'll just say, okay, create a new folder, Chat App. Press Enter, and I'm going to double click on that, and let's click on Select Folder. So once you select the folder, then you will basically, I'm just going to maximize this. Now, Visual Studio Code has a built-in terminal. You can call it command prompt terminal, or just a command line, whatever you feel like calling it. So we'll click on terminal, and there we go. So here we're going to start typing some terminal commands to set up our project. So I will set up a project in Visual Studio Code, but I will continue working on WebStorm. Basically, the WebStorm has the same kind of environment. On the left, we have a project explorer. We have a terminal at the bottom. We have a coding area as well. But this is free. WebStorm is paid. It's up to you. So my recommendation is to start with the free one, and then once you feel like you want to jump to the premium version of IDE, then you can get WebStorm, which is recommended by the top developers and top bloggers out there as well. All right, so here the first thing we need to do is create a project.json file. Now we can actually go and right click and click on new file, and also I'm going to just say, okay, package.json file. There you go. That's a package.json file. But that is not a recommended way to create a project.json file. So what we're going to do here, I'm going to right click, and I'm going to click on delete, move to recycle bin, and I'm going to go to terminal. And here, first of all, you need to check we are in the same folder where we have a project. So here, as you can see at the bottom, we have a chat application on H drive on my hard drive. So right now, I'll simply check if Node is there by typing -version, and then I have a Node installed, and also I will check what version of npm I have. So I'll say npm --version. Now I'm gonna go and check. It says okay, 5.5.1. Nice. We're all ready to go. Now to create a package.json file, we will just type, which is say npm init, and now it tells me what application I want to type it in here. So right at the bottom, you can see we have the name for that. I'm going to press enter. What version? Version, press enter. Description, I creating my first socket.io application. Press enter, and it's asking me entry point. So entry point, we just leave at index.js, which we'll create. Enter, git repository, no repository, keyword, no author. I'll type my name, Awais Mirza, press enter, license, we say MIT, yes, right? And now once I type all that information there, you see package.json is updated now. All right, so what's next? So I'm just gonna clear the console by typing clear and pressing enter. All right, so the next thing we need to install is Express. So we'll just go npm install and -- save. It's a flag which basically telling the command that, oh, we want to save that in our package.json file. So if someone opens this project, they will simply go npm install and all of the dependencies will be installed automatically. So here I'll say -save and I'll say express. Press enter. It is going to go to the internet, wherever it goes, and it's going to grab us express and it will install us express. So I'm going to pause the video. Once I've done with it, then we will talk next. Alright, so Express has been installed. The next thing we need to install is Socket.io. So how do we install that? First of all, we'll go to the terminal and here I'll type npm install --save and then I'll say socket.io, right? Press enter and it's going to go look for Socket.io and it's going to install that for us. Alright, so now once this gets installed, in the next video we are going to start creating some files and we'll configure our server as well. So here, but the last thing before finishing this video, guys, I'm going to be showing you, we have a dependency object in there in package.json file. So here we have Express, we have a Socket.io installed as well. So we're good to go. Welcome back. Now in this video we are going to install our dependencies, whatever the left, and also we'll configure a server and also we'll create some files as well. So let's get started. First of all, there's two more dependencies that we need to have. So I can install dependency by going to the terminal and writing npm install, or I can simply define in package.json file, and after that I will run the command npm install, which will go and look at this JSON file, package.json file, and install all the dependencies defined here. So we need another dependency, which will be Nodejs. Alright, and the version we want to grab for that is the latest one. So yeah, let's grab that. And also we need another dependency, HTTP server. So we have this HTTP server and the version would be for that, I think it's 0 point something. Well, we just type the value and let's see what comes up if we get the suggestion. Alright, so we get the latest suggestion. This is the one we want. Right, and then we have some dev dependencies as well. So first of all, we want to add a Babel Cli. So we'll go and install through terminal. I clear it out first and then I'll just say npm install --save -dev. So -dev flag, which means it tells that please save that dependency as a dev dependency. So we'll just say Babel.cli. Press enter and it's going to go to internet and look for Babel Cli and it will install that for us as a dev dependency. So we're just going to wait for a bit and then after that it says that dependency has been updated. So let's run this npm install command. First of all, I'm going to copy and paste some code from a snippet. So I'll just say, and I'll just copy some more dependency here, and after that we'll just go and run npm install command from the terminal. Alright, so all of these dependencies should be installed. Now it's time for us to create some folders. So I'll go right click here and I'll create another directory. I will name it public and I'll go here and then create an index.html file and index.js file. So let's create an index.js file first. So I'll say index.js file and inside the public folder we'll just go and create index.html file. Right, so we have successfully installed all the dependencies as well and we've created two files, index.html file and index.js file. So index.js file will be used to configure our server. So first of all, let's go and write some code in the index.js file and let's make our server up and running. Alright, so now let's require the packages we installed. So if we look at package.json file, we installed Express, Socket.io, Nodejs for a server, HTTP server, Babel, and now it's time for us to require these packages and make them work. So let's start defining a const, and I'll say app is equal to, I want to require express, and I'll run it straight away. After that, we'll just create a server variable, and I'll just require the module HTTP. And then we'll just call .server, and we want to run the server on app. All right. Next, we have another const for socket IO. I'll just say require socket IO, and then we want to run it on server, right? And then after that, we'll just define a constant for our port is equal to 3000. So you can define the port you would like to use, but I will be using 3000. So if you have a different port available in your PC, just type that integer value and the port will be on that. Alright, so now let's use a listen method on our server, and let's see what we can do with it. So we just use the server, we call a listen method. So first of all, it takes two parameters. First, it needs to know what port, and then a callback function. So we just say run it on a port which has the value of 3000. I'll use the callback, and then we just use a console.log, and I'll use the template string because we're working on an ES6 version of JavaScript. I will say server is listening on port. We use a $, and then we use port variable. I'm going to save the file, and now it's time for us to bring a browser and let's test it out. So I'm just going to grab the browser here, and I will just push it here, and I'll grab and try to align these together so we could just work on that. Now let's go to terminal, and here first let's clear it out. And now how do we start our server? Now to start our server, first let's type the semicolon there. We're going to go back to package.json file, and we want to have a script which will help us start the server. So the script would be, I will type a comma here, that would be start, and then we use a nodemon, and it needs to know what file you want to start the server from. So we want to start the server from index.js file. So here I'll define .index, sorry, .index.js file, and we need some flags as well because we're using Babel to convert our ES6 code to ES5. So we said -exec babel-node-e.js. Alright, I'm gonna go and start the server. So npm start, let's see if our server gets up and running. So it says server is listening on the port 3000. Now if I go to localhost port 3000, I can see cannot get, because we haven't configured the routes on our index.js file. So first of all, let's go and configure some routes here. Let's configure the default route first. So we'll just use app.get method, and on that I'll say default, which is a localhost 3000. So we define that by /, and then it takes two parameters, request and a response. So type request and response. We use the ES6 version, and here first of all we are going to basically send index.html file. I'll go to index.html, and I've written here h1 welcome to chat application. Actually, let's just fix it. So I'll just say h1 welcome to chat app. Save the file. Now once we get to localhost 3000, I want to send this file, so that file will be rendered in our browser. So how do we do that? So we got request and we respond. So the response parameter will have a function or method, you can say send file, and first of all we need to send index.html. So the best way to find out what directory we are currently in by using this underscore dir name. That will give us the directory, the current directory we're working on. Then we can concatenate it with public / index.html file, right? And then we need to wrap that in a single quotes actually. So we'll just do single quotes here, right? Let's save the file and let's see if our server is still running. Well, it's still running. I'm gonna just make this small terminal. Let's refresh the browser and there you go. I get localhost 3000. It says welcome to chat application. Now if I say get this to ABC, let's save the file. And now because we're using a no demand, the server automatically restart on every change we do, and we save the file and it restart automatically. I'm gonna refresh the browser and it says, oh, cannot get. So what if I go on the URL address bar, I'll say ABC. Press enter and gives us this index.html file because we have configured the route for /ABC. So let's leave that as a default route, save the file, and now let's go back to index.html and let's do a bit of configuration there. So go back here and I'm going to copy and paste some code. Basically that code is just a Bootstrap. So we're going to be using Bootstrap to actually style our stuff. So there are a few scripts basically. I'll quickly show you those as well. First, let me put them right here. That's a bit big. So what I'll do, I'll just make this file a bit smaller, right? I hope it's easier to see. And also we need a script for style sheet. So I'll just grab that as well. This is coming from a Bootstrap as well. Let's just copy that and that goes into our head. And let's save it. Now where is this thing coming from? I'm going to just make another browser here to say getbootstrap.com. So basically Bootstrap is a framework will help us to style our application easily. So if I go to download section here, I can see it says you can use the Bootstrap CDN version. So there's a lot like this. I don't want to go into detail what is the CDN version because I'm pretty sure you guys already know what is the CDN versions of jQuery and Bootstrap. So basically we're grabbing these Bootstrap from CDN. So these are all the links there. All right, so now after that we want to have some CSS. But first let's start writing some code here. So here I will have this wrapped in class, I'll say container, and then I'll just have class and I'll use Jumbotron class, and then I'll just push that in there. Okay, and then let's take a look at our file, refresh it. Now it doesn't get us this thing, so we want to go back to localhost 3. Now we have nicely says welcome to chat application. That looks nicer. So inside of a Jumbotron we want to have our links to our rooms. So for that we can basically go and create some buttons. So I'll just say okay, let's create an anchor link. So we'll just use UL and I will basically go and say okay, well href, and here we want to define JavaScript .html file, and then we will have this as JavaScript. Let's duplicate and we want to change this file to, let's just say CSS, or we can say HTML. Yeah, HTML is fine. HTML.html. Nah, I'll just say C Swift. Let's learn the Swift. Let's chat about Swift actually. And here we'll just say Python. Alright, and now I'm going to save the file. Let's refresh the browser, and then we have 3 links. Now we can use some classes here as well. And if I will go here and I'll just say class list dash group from Bootstrap. Let's refresh the browser, and here we have a list, but that doesn't really look intuitive, so I'm just going to remove this class and instead I'll use the class here. So I'll use this class btn dash primary. Let's take a look at how it looks like. Yep, that looks much better now. I'll use this class. I'll copy that and I'll paste it here, and also paste it here as well. I'm gonna save the file and let's refresh the browser, and we have 3 buttons. It says JavaScript, JavaScript, JavaScript because we haven't changed the text here. So here we'll say, okay, that would be Swift. Let's chat about Swift, and that let's chat about Python, right? We'll just make it P capital, it looks better. Let's refresh the browser here, and now we have 3 buttons. We say welcome to chat application, and in the next video we will configure the routes for our JavaScript, Swift, and Python. Welcome back. Now in this video we are going to create an HTML files for all of our rooms for our chat application, which will be a JavaScript chat room, a Swift chat room, and a Python chat room, and also we will configure routes for them as well. So right now in index.html file, we can see we have welcome to chat application. We have a JavaScript. I'll click on JavaScript and it goes to javascript.html file, which doesn't exist. That's why it says cannot get javascript.html file. We'll go back and let's start creating those files. So we'll go in a public and I'll create an HTML file. I'll name it javascript.html file, and also we'll create another file for Swift, and let's go and create another file for Python. Right, so we have 3 files now. Let's go and configure a few of the things in the file. So here in the title for JavaScript, we'll just simply say chat about JavaScript. Save the file. We have a chat about Swift, right? We'll just change the text here. Let's save the file, and also chat about Python. Now save the file. And now we create these files. So for just temporarily, we will basically go and create an H1, and we can say chat about Python. We're just gonna copy this, and I'm gonna paste this here for Swift and also for JavaScript as well. So we'll just change this to JavaScript so we know that our routes are working. So here we have Swift. All right, so now we have 3 files: javascript.html file, swift.html file, and python.html file. Right, so now we are going to go back to index.js file and let's configure some routes. So here on localhost 3000, we see this welcome to chat application. We have a JavaScript, Swift, and Python. Now let's create some routes for all of these files. So we'll do the same thing. We go app.get, and then if I say JavaScript, right, then we should go to javascript.html file. So let's add a comma and let's use a callback request, comma, and response. And also we will just say res.send file. And here we will use the current directory by using a node package for file system, the name, and we concatenate that with the public, get inside a public dash javascript.html file, right? Now also for Swift, so app.get/Swift, right? And then we will have request response, and then we just send the response, send file, and we just use current directory, and let's just concatenate it with public dash swift.html file. And the last thing we need to configure route app.get Python, right? And that will take the same parameters. And then we forgot to do ES6. Oops. Right, now we just send that to the response send file, and then we use this dir name, concatenate it with public / python.html file. Alright, now we have configured our routes. Let's go test it out. I'm going to refresh the browser. If I click on JavaScript, it says JavaScript is not there. Well, we have a JavaScript file, and now why it is not working. Now, to fix this problem, we'll go to index.html file. And here you notice that we're just saying javascript.html file. Why should we have to do that? We shouldn't be doing this, right? So we just say change the URL to JavaScript, and then once we get to that URL, that event will trigger automatically. So here we have all the routes will trigger automatically. Let's save all, save index.html file. Let's go and back and let's refresh the browser. And now if I click on JavaScript, I go to chat about JavaScript. I'll go back and I'll just click on Swift. I get that chat about Swift. I'll go back and I click on Python and I get chat about Python. Now, how cool is that? So in this video, we have created 3 HTML files for basically creating the separate rooms for our chat. And also in index.js file, we have configured the routes for them. So anyone will be able to go to the room by simply clicking on JavaScript. Welcome back. In this video, we are going to configure our chat room UI. Now we'll go back to javascript.html file, Swift, python.html file. Now let's go and configure the JavaScript file with the Bootstrap first. So we're gonna need these 3 script files. So I'm just gonna copy them and let's go inside the JavaScript file. And also we are going to grab the link for that as well. I'm just gonna make it smaller for a second, guys. So we'll just copy this link as well and also put it here. Alright, I'm gonna save the file and let's just go make it a bit smaller. That should be fine. I'm just going to start working on UI now. Alright, so in terms of UI, what do we need? So in a chat application, we have input field where we can type the message. We have a button where we can click on it, and then that will basically push that message, or we can call it in the programming language, emit the message to the people which are available in the chat room. So how do we do that? So let's start by defining some HTML and let's do that. So I'll use the Bootstrap, so I'll just make it a bit bigger so it's better to look at. So I'll say div class and I'll just create a container, and we use the fluid container for Bootstrap. And inside that, first let's create another div with the class of row, and also we need a UL unordered list. So we say UL and we can set ID and we can say messages. So now this UL will have LIs in it. So whenever someone type a message, that will be append to this UL. So here we're defining an ID because we want to grab that using jQuery. So here we just leave that and also go down. And here we want to create another div with the class of row, and then we are going to define a class of column.xs. That's 12. This is just the HTML stuff, and I'm expecting you guys to know this already. Now we are going to create a form here. So let's just do a form, and I want to send the ID for that, and ID would be message.form, right? And action would be just empty for now. Right, so inside that, first of all, let's create a div with a class of input group, right? And then we have an input ID. Well, we can call it, let's just call it M. So that's where we want to type our messages to the public. So just say M, and the next attribute we want to define is, let's just say autocomplete, and I want to set that to off, don't autocomplete. Type, I want to set that to text, and the Bootstrap class we can use form control, and let's choose a placeholder as well. I will just say message. Let's choose a dot as well, right? And also we need to have an area, a label, and here I want to say messages, or message is fine. Alright, so now let's go and take a look at what we have so far. I'm going to save the file. Let's refresh the browser. I'm going to click on JavaScript, and here we can see we have a message input field. Now let's go and create a span. So we'll just say a span and use a class from a Bootstrap input group dash btn, right? And then inside that we create a button, and button will have a class of btn dash. We just say success, right? And then we can say type would be submit, and we can say, well, let's send. All right, I'm gonna save the file. Let's refresh the browser, and here, as you can see, we have a message, we have a send button right next to it. Now let's write some CSS to make our file a bit look nicer. So I'll go and make it smaller, and then I'm going to write the CSS embedded here, so we don't have to create a new style file. So just use a style tag, and here first of all let's target the form. So target the form, and first of all I want to give a padding, and the padding would be, let's just say 20 pixels, or maybe let's do 30 pixels, right? And then we want to have a position. I want to set the position to fixed. Bottom, I want to set that to 0 because I want this to go 0 at the bottom, so that will be fixed at the bottom. Width, we can actually give it to 100%. So if you follow the Bootstrap URL, then you can use the Bootstrap classes, but I'm defining my own. So yeah, do a padding right. So we'll just go padding right, and here I'll give about 50 pixel. I'm gonna save the file. Let's refresh the browser, and as you can see, now we have a message and a send button at the bottom. So looking good, right? Now the next CSS we need to have is when we write a message and the message will appear here, that should have some different kind of styling as well that we'll configure when we need that. So in the next video, we will start writing some code to work with the socket. So here we'll just do some code using IO, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Welcome back. Now in this video, we are going to start writing our code for our chat rooms. So first of all, we will write some code using socket.io. So we have a socket.io set to IO. So we require socket.io, and we are setting that to IO. So we can use that, right? So let's go down. First of all, we are going to use the IO, and I want to get on event. And here we want to say connection event, right? And then that will take a callback. So we have a socket as a callback, and next line we can simply say console.log, and we can say a user connected. All right, so what's happening here? We use a socket.io and we created, we use the on event, and here we initializes a new instance of socket.io by passing -gtp, and then I listen on the connection event for incoming sockets, and I log it to the console. So whatever incoming connection will be coming in, we're just logging that to the console, right? Now, how it's going to work with index.html file. So if the user refreshes this page, we should see something there, right? All right, so now we go to index.html and we will add some code to index.html that takes and loads socket.io client, which exposes our IO global and then connect. So I'm going to go to index.html file, and here, first of all, we will use a socket.io client here by using a script tag, and I will just say source would be socket.io/socket.io.js. Right, I'm going to save the file. So this is a client. Now we have another script tag where we'll write some script in it. So I'll just say var socket is equal to io and call a function. Now I'm going to refresh the page. Once I refresh the page, I will see the message on the console. So let's go and just restart the server. And I'm going to say npm start. Let's start the server. And now we are going to refresh the page. And every time I refresh the page, as you can see, I can see the message, a user connected. So if I say a user joined, I'm going to save the file and refresh the page. And here what we see, a user joined now. Right, so that means we have our socket coming in from our client, which is index.html, and we're getting the client and we're getting a socket, and then on this connection event we just console.log a user join. Right, so now what's next? Now we are going to call some methods. Once a user gets connected, we need to have a connect method, and we need to have a connect event, and we need to have a disconnect event as well. So how do we do that? So let's go and start writing some code in our index.js file, and we'll finish off that code for our join, and then if user get connected or user disconnect, right? So I'm actually going to, okay, we're already in the index.html, index.js file. So here, let's remove this console.log for now, right? And now, instead of using this IO on object, I'm going to actually create a constant variable, and tech is equal to io.off method. So I'm going to call this tech variable here because we're creating a multiple rooms. So I'll just say /tech. So now instead of IO, I'm going to use tech. Right, if the tech gets connection, then do this. Right, so inside that, we will, once the user gets connected, we have a socket.on method, and then that would be a join event. Then we have a callback, which is the data, and then inside a data, we will join the socket data. So we'll just say socket.join method, and here we say data.room. Now the room will give us error because we haven't finished that code in any of the rooms, but we'll just finish the code here, and then we'll go and finish off our code in one of the chat rooms. So here, now let's use a tech, and we're going to call in method, and that will take data.room, and it will emit the message. So the event would be a message, and the value would be, let's just say, new user joined. All right, so if the user gets joined in any of the tech room, then we will just trigger this message. We'll just send this message. So we'll just say here data.room, and then we have just a room and just make it a bit fancier. Right, now let's go next. Next we want to have a message socket. So whatever we get as a message, that we should do something, right? So we'll do that by using a socket.on again, and that would be a message event that would have a data, and let's just use a ES6 arrow syntax for functions. So for that, we'll just do tech.in data.room, and we'll just emit that, and that would be message, and data.message will be data sent on this, right? Okay, so now we've done that, and now we're gonna have something called a disconnection. So if some user get disconnected, we should see a message as well. So we say io.on, the event would be disconnect. That will take a callback, and then we'll just say console.log as well, and we can simply say user disconnected, and then we will have tech.emit, and we can say a message, and we can simply pass in this user disconnected message. Right now it's time for us to let's take a look at what's happening here. Now we create a variable, and I use the IO of /tech. So that's the path for that. Now we have a connection event, which is basically a listener for a socket coming in from our client. And these are all the clients. All right, so let's go back to index.js file. And once the socket gets there, then it will basically grab the data, it will check the room, and then it will emit the message, and it will take the message from the room, whatever we pass in. So now let's go to JavaScript file, and let's try finishing that code, and let's see if that things work from there. So we're gonna go and write some code for our client now. So we have this index, and we have this if the user joined or not. So we'll just go back to JavaScript file, and here similarly for the JavaScript, now we will create a script first, and then we want to source that to socket.io/socket.io-.js. So we grab the client from socket.io, and then we have a script, and then here we write our code. So now let's go and create a const, and variable name room is equal to, let's just say JavaScript. All right, and then we have a const, and we say socket, give me the socket, io.connect method on it, and I connect with, guess what, tech, right? Just grab it from there. So what we define in our server. Now the next thing what we need to do here is grab the form field from there. So we have a form field input m, which has the value of the message, and we have this submit button there. So let's finish up that code, which will be done using jQuery. So $, and we grab the form, and then once the form gets submitted, then we will have a callback function, and the callback will be like, let's grab the message first. So let message is equal to $m, and let's grab its a value. Right, so what we're doing here, basically, we are grabbing the form. So when the form gets submitted, let's go and grab the message from input field. Let's go to the JavaScript actually. Will it go? No, it wouldn't go because we will have an error. So here we have an input field, which we will type the message. So we're grabbing the value of the message which was typed by the user. And once we grab the value there, then we want to use a socket.emit. We want to send that message. So we just say it's a message socket, and the data is basically message, room. All right, and then let's add a semicolon there, and also we want to empty that form. So go $, and we grab that again, element m.value, and we can just simply pass in an empty string there, so that will empty it out. And then we can say return false, right? So now let's write some code for connection for a room. So it says socket.on, and here we have an event connect, and then we have a callback function, and simply we will just say socket.emit, and we have a join event, and that will take the room, right? And the room is right now is JavaScript, and then the value for that would be room. Okay, let's save it. Now we have a message socket.on, then we have a message that will take a parameter, and we have a callback, and also we will grab the jQuery now, and we'll just put that inside the message. So basically we have this URL. Remember, we created this URL. We want to put li inside this URL. So right now we are going to grab messages, right? And then we want to append to jQuery. We go $li, right? We create li, and then we say text is a message. Save the file. Now we should be able to make sure that we got all the semicolons there, and also we're missing a parenthesis here, and that will remove an error. So another one here. All right, so now let's go and try restarting our server again, but we need to have this code for Swift and the Python room as well. So instead of just writing that again, we're just gonna copy that, and we just want to change the name of our room, and the rest of the code will be the same. So we'll just go and copy this code, and I'll just paste it here. But actually we need to have the whole HTML. So I'll just drag all the code all the way up there from head. Let's just copy that, and then we want to just drag the code here. So we need to change this to Swift room, and then we need to have this. Let's make it smaller actually. So it's Swift here as well, and also we make sure we have a jQuery implemented there. That's fine. Now let's grab this and paste it here. Here we have the room for Python, and let's go up, and here we change this to Python as well. Let's save the file, and now it's time for us to let's look at our server and pim start, and let's see if our server is running perfectly fine. Well, we have a lot of errors now. It says tech.on, so there's a spelling error, guys. So we go to index.html file. Here we can see it's tech, so it's supposed to be tech, right? And let's save the file. And what's the next error? So it says server is listening on port 33. Let's refresh the page, and now we can see it's pretty good. So we'll click on JavaScript, which will take us here now, And here if I type hi, press enter, and there you go. We are grabbing and we're writing the messages to our message. Now we want to have a little bit of style here for this. Now for the styling, we can do something like, let's go to JavaScript first, and in style, in our style tag, let's grab messages and we'll just say list style type, and we set that to none first. And the margin and the padding, we set that to 0. And let's just set that to 0. And we have a width. Let's just set that to 100%. Save the file. Let's take a look at what do we have right now. So if I type any message that's like no style listing, that's fine. And also we want to have some sort of a padding there. So we made the padding 0, but we want to have like a mass li padding. So we got message li, and then we have a padding here. Let's do the padding of 5 pixel and 10 pixel top to bottom. Save the file, and also let's refresh the page now. Let's do that. That's fine. That's working fine. And now let's do one more trick here. So we just grab a messages again and say li and nth child, and the child would be, let's just say every even will have a color of white, and let's just do a background color to, let's just say gray color. Yeah, that should be fine. Let's just refresh the page now, and I'm just gonna type 1, 2, 3 message. Nice. So things are working. Now I'm gonna just grab this application and just make just maximize this page. Let's just try maximizing it. Let's close the console. I want to go back to the page. Right, so I'm gonna refresh the page. Now this time I'm gonna go to Swift. I'm gonna click on Swift, and now I have a Swift here. So I'll type hi Swift, press enter. Now I can see I have hi Swift because I did not apply that style to Swift.html or Python.html. Now let's go and test it out. So I want to grab another browser here, and here we want to go to localhost 3000, and I'm going to click on Swift. And now once I click on Swift, you see we have a message here emitted, says new user joined Swift root. So here if I, let's just say decrease the size here and decrease the size here, so we can have like a 3 people chatting together. So if I type, hey, how are you? And I send that, and there you go. We can see the message here, and we can also see the message here. So from here, if I say the message, I'm just gonna decrease the size here. So if I say, I am good, I'm gonna press enter, and there you go. So both pages have these messages. Now we can have another instance of that as well. So here I go localhost 3000, I'll go to Swift, and there you go. We have this message triggered, a new user joined. So here I'll say hi. So this gets emitted on all of the people are chatting right now. So now we're gonna go back and go to JavaScript, which has a CSS. We go to JavaScript, we go back here, we go to JavaScript. And here I want to type, hi, how are you guys? Press enter, and there you go. So this thing has an even child of li that gets this CSS, and this are not, is because they're odd right now. So right now we can see we are running 3 instances. I am the first person, I'll say the message, and here I'll just say I am the second person, and I will say I am the third person. Right, so here we have like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, like 3 instances running off of a code, and this is pretty good, right? Alright guys, so yeah, thanks for watching this course, and I hope you enjoyed this project-based tutorial. And yeah, check out my other courses as well on Udemy. I've done the full course of JavaScript. Check it out, and yeah, I'll see you guys around.